Go away. Go.
Hi, everybody. Tom Leahy, Optimum Ed. I hope everybody is well today. I'm so excited. I have both Candace and Amanda with me today.
Whoa.
My brain trust.
Yeah.
But, it dawned on me the other day, while you both are engaged with Optimum Ed, you know what? You're both moms.
We
And
are.
both moms with kids in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I'd put you on the spot and make you talk about being a mom, having a high schooler, and what that means, and what you're concerned about, and your expectations, and all that. I thought that would just be I thought it was brilliant.
Brilliant, Tom. I think
Brilliant.
Candace and I are definitely qualified to talk all those things. The high school years, they're interesting, fun, exciting, anxious, all that rolled into one as we try to educate our kids and send them out into the world. So
right, yeah.
So
let's start with expectations. What, as a mom, what do you want college to accomplish for your student?
I think of it as accomplishing preparation for his good first step into the world of work. It's that I'm a firm believer that you grow and evolve as you go through life. And I like to think of it as a first step into the world of work. And I think I just want him to be as prepared as possible, and education and having a plan is the place to be. I definitely don't want to put the pressure of the world of choosing what he's going to do for the rest of his life onto his shoulders at this point. I'm only a month into having a high schooler at this point, so I'm new to the high school game.
So, Amanda, you have a sophomore in high school. So how do you see college benefiting Ellery?
So a couple of things. So the sophomore year, you're one step closer. So it's starting to get real,
Yeah.
It's getting real. And so my hope for her, and this is a conversation that I have with her all the time, is I want you to have a good college experience. I want you to come out and be qualified to do something. I want you to have a skill, but I also want you to be happy. And I think that picking the right school and being happy at that school is going to only propel her forward in the career that she chooses and her classes and her whole experience. I absolutely don't want a waste of time. And when I say that, I mean, whether it be taking classes that are, not going to help her going forward, don't go to school with no plan. Let's make a plan, but let's make it the right place for you.
Yes.
Because that's the foundation of what she's going to do when she gets out of school and launches. So I want her to be prepared for that.
Yeah. And I like what you said about the right place for her. I talk to so many people and I hear them saying, well, I want to get my child into the best school, the best school, the best school. And when that's the focus, the focus isn't on what's best for your child, and I want him to go somewhere where he, like you said, where he's going to feel comfortable, where he's going to excel, and it's a right fit for him. So I'm not pushing him out of his skill set, out of what he likes to do, out of his personality to fit into a pigeonhole, what I would categorize as the best school. So, yeah.
Right. Because the best school is, depends on who you talk to.
Exactly.
There's a lot of opinions on what the best schools are.
There is.
Believe me. Ask 10 people out on the street and they'll give you 10 different answers. So, but what the best school is for your own student, looks different than somebody on the street.
So being happy, I heard that. You want your child to be happy, but that really is an individual thing, right? I mean, what makes one student happy is not what makes another student happy. So how do we as parents oftentimes try to superimpose what we think happiness is on our child, right? Instead of figuring out for them what really makes them happy. So
Mhm.
how important is that in the process of really understanding what makes your child tick?
Well, what breaks my heart, we both took a deep breath like we're gonna, you know, we're gonna say something brilliant, Tom. Just wait. So number one, I think the assessment that OptimaMed does
Mhm.
has given me and several other parents an inside look at a variety of different things, you know, when it comes to picking the right school. And just, you know, you got to listen to them.
Yes.
What's important to them? What are their perceptions, you know, versus reality? So it absolutely breaks my heart when I see a college freshman go off to school. They spend all this time, effort, energy getting into the school, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, you know, one semester later, they're transferring somewhere. I hate to see that, and so
Mhm.
anything that we
Or
can
they're
do to
leaving.
avoid that, you know, I think is key. What do you think, Candace?
Yeah, and I think because I know my son has no idea other than movies and TV shows, what college really is. That's their only exposure to it. So I think as much exposure that we can give them early, I'm not saying I'm taking my ninth grader on college tours yet, but maybe if we're driving through a town, maybe we do something informal and put a foot on a school and talk to him about whether he likes cities or whether he likes a rural setting, if he likes to be, right now he's in a huge high school. So does he like that bustle and big thing, or would he rather have something small? So I think all of that's his preference, and asking those questions and having those conversations, like you said, is important.
So, there's a lot of landmines involved in this process, and so often we have good intentions as parents, but we end up setting the child up to fail because we are, not perceptive, or we're on our own, have our own agenda or whatever. And we talk about when we're bringing children up, that they need to face natural consequences and that sort of
Yes.
thing. That we can't be helicopter parents, but failure at college takes that to a whole different level.
Hmm.
But if a student that fails something like that, the impact on their self-esteem and self-confidence can be daunting or then hard to overcome.
Hmm. Yeah, I think, allowing them to be as independent as possible, as early as possible is important. You know, um, Even as young as elementary age, they need to be responsible for their own homework. It's not your homework, it's theirs. I've never been the mom that checks over his homework. I'm just not. And does he have some stumbles? Sure he does. Sure he does. But I want him to be the one that's responsible for it, because eventually he's going to be completely on his own, and he needs to know how to do that. He needs to know how to step it up when it needs to be stepped up, on his own.
Right. Yeah.
I like to
Mhm.
think of myself as some kind of hybrid mom. Part of the time, I'm like, okay, like Candace said, you're responsible for your homework. It's not mine. You know, have your learner's permit. You need to go to driving school. You go research schools. You come back to me with, you know, what you need to do. But then I save my helicoptering for, you know, the big stuff when I really, you know,
Yes.
need to,
Right. Yeah. You have to
you know. So it's a
decide
balance.
where you need to step in, and where the
Yeah.
natural consequences are more than we can bear. Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
they feel
Yeah.
supported when it's needed. So they know that you're there for them for the big
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think that just understanding that doing better planning and having those conversations ahead of spending the money for college too makes things a lot more efficient
Yeah.
for the family.
Hmm. Definitely. Well, and I think then sometimes when the students are talking to a different person, like, you know, you, Tom, or Candace, you know, someone that's not their mother or father, you guys can get some really good intel that might be key, you know, for the decisions. Whereas, you know, the parents, they kind of, you know, hear the same stuff from the parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the whole point is, before you kick them out of the nest, you want to make sure they can fly, right?
Exactly.
And it takes some work and prior planning and all that. And I guess, you know, at the end of the day, that's what OptiMed is built for, is to flight school, right? So, anyway, any last thoughts before we let our audience get back to their day?
You know, my final thought is just have conversations. Start now. You know, start. Don't wait. Start now. It seems like it might be way in the future, but here I am with a sophomore in high school. And I feel like just yesterday I was looking for her shoes to take her to preschool, you know, so things go by really quickly, and it's always good to get ahead instead of chase it. So
Yeah. And I'm so glad that my son took the assessment early. You know, I know Amanda, your daughter did too. I'm so glad he took it early because we honestly refer to it a lot. I mean, it's
Right.
probably because I do what I do, but but we refer to it a lot. And he, you know, he took a business marketing class as an elective, you know, his in freshman year because, you know, of the results of the assessment. And we talk about him being highly social and, you know, and a slow decision maker. Like we talk about those things all the time with him and how to accommodate and how to get by. And so it's a valuable tool for life
Well, I
in
think it's
general.
been, yeah, I agree. I think that's been a valuable tool for not just career planning purposes, but for high school planning purposes.
Yes.
You know, so it's
Yeah.
been really, it's been like you, Candace, I refer back to that all the time. Like my daughter's very, very independent. She, you know, doesn't like to be micromanaged. So, you know, I have to keep that in mind when, you know,
Yeah.
conversations about certain things, but
Right.
it's been really helpful. But
Yeah.
yeah, so those
Perfect.
are my thoughts as a
Yeah.
mom of a
Again.
sophomore.
Well, thank you, Amanda and Candace, for sharing that. And we thank everyone for being here today. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do that through our website, optimedcenter.com, or you can call 804-417-4807. And so we will see you next week, same time, same place. I think we have a great guest next week, so please tune in. And until then, have a great, safe afternoon and a great weekend coming up. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank
good to see
you.
Thank you. Bye.